Hey y'all, it's Angela Rye. You may have seen me on CNN or maybe The Breakfast Club or maybe on my Instagram. Although I'm always on the road working, there's always been some things I want to try. Some things come really natural to me. The others, well, let's just say they need a little bit of work. Welcome to my On-One Masterclass. I hope you find something you love.
With each breath in, as you're breathing in deeply,
I hope you'll laugh.
Oh no!
Joke.
Come out. What did you just call that ball?
This is my Wakanda ball. And have a good time with all of us. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You do not want to miss this. Hi! So everybody, welcome to a very... hold on, there we go. A very special edition of On One with Angela Rye. I have my good friend here, who's become more like a sister, huh? Her name is Angela Manuel Davis, and she She is a fitness guru, a former track and field champion. She is the best cycling instructor ever, and let me tell you why. Because if you could get me to like cycling, that's like, yeah. So, it's just a joy, and I'm so glad that you agreed to do this. Every single day during this coronavirus epidemic, Angela is on her new business platform, which is called AARMY, sending people encouragement, but also taking people in to work out from their own home gyms or from their own bedrooms or wherever they work out. And it's just been incredible to see that you've been true to mission, even when you can't be in your studio with your normal cycling buddies. So,
thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So how are you holding up right now?
I mean, when this whole thing broke out, to be honest with you, as a brand new business owner, I felt like people were worried for me, checking in on me a lot. Mm-hmm. And really, from the beginning, I've just been in total peace. I just have peace. I'm at home with my 2 kids and my husband, and God is in control. And I just decided at the very beginning of this to let God be God all by himself, and to really lean into this moment, whatever this moment is. It's so major for all of us. It's so major that there's this halt and there's this stop in every habit and routine, and there's just, we're at a standstill. And for me, that just was so such a huge sign that, that we really need to listen and pay attention. And so I don't want to miss that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to miss that. And so I'm just in peace because I want to be open to hear and receive in this season.
Wow. So you, before this all started, you were a cycling instructor at Soul Cycle for a really long time. And to me, I feel like you helped to establish that brand quite a bit. Well, how hard was it for you to set out on your own and do your own thing? Now, again, that thing is called AARMY. It's 2 A's.
Yeah. 2 A's.
Part of the A team. But how hard was it for you to set out on your own?
I got to a place where I always knew that was part of my purpose. I always knew that was part of my call. I knew that ownership was intended for me. Mm-hmm. I knew that, and I've known that for a really long time, that ownership was intended for me. And so I just got to a point where I couldn't stay. And it was super comfortable and things were really, really good. But when you know that you've been called to be great, mm-hmm. you just don't settle for good. And I knew that I was settling for good, really, really good, mm-hmm. really, really good, freedom, comfortable, and so I couldn't stay. it became a pull that was that really outweighed an option to remain. So I jumped. I was out.
And you definitely landed like in such a good way and have a great partner in New York now. And what has happened, if anything, through the coronavirus epidemic? Have any of your plans slowed down? What are you, how are you responding to it? Or are you just like, I'm good, we're coasting on faith right now and we know everything is going to work out? Have you had to make any adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had to pivot. We were solely a bricks and mortar business, teaching cycle and boot camp classes all day in Los Angeles and in New York. And we were the first in the fitness industry actually to close our doors because we knew it was time before everyone was legally forced to close. We knew that it was time to close just for the safety of everyone. And we immediately pivoted. Our business plan was never about being a bricks and mortar business anyway. Bricks and mortar is important for community, but we knew that we had a global mandate. We knew that we wanted to really go out and reach the world. And so you do that digitally. And so we just immediately, it forced our hand, it forced us to move faster. We were planning on launching digital this year, but later in the year. And so we're just going to move that up. And I believe that, I'm in this odd way. I mean, this is a devastation that's happening. This is an absolute devastation that's happening to so many people and to so many lives have been affected. And we've already, lost lives, and it's a devastation. And I think I'm just naturally an optimistic person. I think either people are naturally optimistic or not. And I think I'm naturally an optimistic person. So I immediately search for the silver lining. And, the silver lining for me and for our business was that this just forced us to do what we knew that we were going to do anyway sooner. So I am grateful for that, not grateful for Corona, not grateful for, I don't want that ever to be misunderstood, but just that who I am innately, it causes me to always search for the good. I feel like we will always find what we were looking for. So I make it an intention to search for good. And that's the silver lining. We're just going to start our digital sooner. So right now it's just been IG Live. It's like real, just, DIY, do it yourself. This isn't like our official digital launch, but we realize that it is going to be powerful. We were on there yesterday, and, I had people on from, Cape Town and London and Qatar, and like people are just like, shouting where they're, Mexico, and like it was just like, wow, like this is what it is. This is what it is, and I heard Bishop Jake say a couple weeks ago, I heard him say one of the quickest things to connect us is a common enemy. And we are all fighting the same fight, so where there was so much division before and where there's been so much division for so long, all of a sudden we're all on the same team. Yeah. We're all on the same side. Yeah. We're all fighting the same thing. Yeah. And so, this digital platform is going to allow us to do that in a really massive way. So I'm excited about it.
One of the things you said yesterday was, and you say it often, is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way you do one thing, the way you do all things.
All things. And it's something that, to me, just from watching you over time, sis, is like, that's true about you. And I've never seen you not approach anything like excellently. Like you come with your, full energetic self and your full encouraging self and, the silver linings don't just exist for your business. You find them for all of us every time we're entering and leaving class. And that's definitely one thing I want to just commend you on, like for being so consistent in that way and for showing up in that way and for holding us accountable to approach life that way. Is there one kind of lesson learned for you where you showed up and didn't perform the way that you know you should have, and like you when you look back, you're like, dang, that's not how I ever want to show up because it's inconsistent with how I live my life? Is there a moment that you're like, dang, you know, I wish I should have done that differently?
Yeah. So I ran track professionally. I ran for Nike. I am still a Nike athlete. And I was training for in 2000, I made it to the Olympic trials and I fell short. I made it to the semifinals, but if I'd have run the same race as I ran in my prelim, I'd have made the Olympic team. And I fell short in 2000, making the Olympic team, and tried again in 2004, but was battling injury. And at the time, my dad was managing the Chicago White Sox, and he was an extraordinary baseball man and just a wise, he was so wise. I feel like I've, really learned how to coach through watching him coach. He was just an extraordinary coach, was manager of the year and just amazing. And his team made it to the playoffs, didn't make it all the way to the World Series, and he got fired. Oof. But he was still under contract and opted to just take the year home and kind of reassess and figure out what he was going to do next. And in that time, he was coaching me. He was my track coach, which was the first time that had ever really happened officially, because he was drafted out of high school to play pro ball, and so he played pro ball all of my childhood. So he was coaching me, and he always thought that I was a 400-meter runner, not a 100-meter runner. But I was my specialty, that I made my specialty, what I was ranked in the world in, and was nationally ranked in, was the 100 meters. Mm-hmm. And so I was injured, and he had me run in an all-comers meet or something that wasn't like a major meet, but he had me run the 400. And because of my injury, I couldn't run in my spikes. I had to run in my training flats. So I was already at a disadvantage. I was injured, and I was running in training flats, racing in training flats. And I was mad. I was irritated that he made me do that he was kind of putting me out there like that, because I do like to show up and be excellent. Mm-hmm. I do like to show up and do what I know. I didn't want to be vulnerable publicly. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be training on race day. I didn't want to do that. And we were in Sacramento at the time, which is where I grew up, and my family came, like my aunts and uncles and my cousins, and all these people came. And I got to the 300 mark in the 400 meters. I got to the 300 mark, and I stopped. Wow. I stopped. And here we are, that was in 2000. So what is this? Over 15, maybe 15, 16 years later, it haunts me. Mm. It haunts me. Mm-hmm. because I'm not a quitter. Mm-mm. And I've regretted that, and I've carried the weight of that. And what I realize is, although I was physically challenged, mm-hmm. whatever it would have cost me to finish, I would have rather paid that price than what I'm still paying just mentally and spiritually that I quit. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that's probably the one moment that, like, it just sucks.
It's so crazy because I hear, like, your pain talking about it. Like, I see it on your face. I know you well enough to, like, know. But, and I think that the silver lining is that as a result of that moment, you know what it's like to be so close and to not get there. And you've used that every single day to push all the rest of us.
That's right. And ain't no way. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't ever want to taste that again. Mm-hmm. I don't ever want to taste that again. Mm-hmm. I don't want to taste it. And I don't want anybody I know to taste it. Yeah. It ain't worth it. Mm-hmm. It ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not worth it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, go all the way. And even if the destination isn't what it was about, whatever is happening in and to and through us in getting there, you know, how that's changing the material on the inside of us and posturing us for what's in front of us. Like, we need that. Yeah. We need that. You know, that's why I'm a firm believer in that nothing is happening to us but for us. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's why it's okay to lean into challenge. That's why it's okay to lean into difficulties. Change me. Mm-hmm. Change the molecules on the inside of me. Change the material on the inside of me. Posture me for what's in front of me, so I'm ready for what's in front of me. You know, and whatever I needed to get in that last 100 meters, like, give me that. Mm-hmm. You know, and now, you know, and I serve a redemptive God. I know whatever I was supposed to get, I got. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I know that, but just it didn't match with my character. Yeah. So it didn't feel, you know, it just doesn't match. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They say character is the thing you do when no one's watching. Yeah. Like, that's who you really are, and it just didn't match. Mm-hmm. It didn't match who I am. You know, I go hard in the paint. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it wasn't a reflection. It didn't match. Yeah. So, but it was an important lesson for me. It was an important moment for me, and I think that it was an important. I gained an important tool that I was able to put in my kit. To be the coach that I am today.
I love that. And speaking of coaches, there's another coach on your squad. Your partner, your husband, Jerome, who we were joking earlier. Jerome does, like, everything. Jerome is clutch. And you have, you've talked publicly about dealing with postpartum depression and how he really helped kind of lift you out of something when you were facing another hard time and challenge, and now watching how much he's just been supportive of the online at-home content, but also, like, building AARMY is incredible. Talk about Jerome for a minute.
Rome. So Jerome ran professional. Jerome was probably one of the dopest dudes out there, like, as far as you know, he was ranked in the world. He was a 400-meter runner, and, like I said, maybe one of the hardest working. Like, he pushed himself on the track. We had the same training group, so we started to train together. But he pushed himself on the track in a way that was just not. You didn't think it was, like, humanly possible for him to push himself the way that he did. Mm-hmm. But my dad's sister. Her and Jerome became really, really close. She was at USC and he was at USC, and she worked in the athletic department. And every day before track practice, he would go and he would talk to Auntie Barbara, and they became really close. And she told him, "You're gonna be in my family one day." Woo! And she told him that, but she also had a daughter.
Oh. Right? Okay, Auntie Barbara.
You're gonna be in my family one day. And in 1999, she suddenly passed of a brain aneurysm. 49 years old, and Jerome and I met at her funeral. which is like wild. We met at her funeral, and that was in 99, and in 2005 we were married. And so, here we are, just celebrated our 15-year anniversary, 2 kids later. But he's just like, he's the one. Like, he's the one that, when after our second son, I was battling postpartum. And he's the one who came home one day and was just like, babe, look, the world is waiting on you. You got to get up off the couch. Like, you are created to be an encourager. I just talked to this lady down the street. She has a cycle and yoga studio, and she's waiting for you. And later that day, I went in and took my first cycle class. And, here we are. And that, like, birthed this whole new, form of encouragement for me, where I literally have been able to marry sport and spirituality in a way that, has become my life's work.
Man. And it's crazy because we're just on the other side of Nipsey Hussle, the anniversary of Nipsey Hussle's death. And I remember last year, this time, going into class and feeling like the heaviness of it, and personally kind of feeling guilty because I'm like, dang, I only talked to him twice in person. I don't know him super well, but I feel like the heaviness of
we felt it.
Right? And I remember this class and like you played his song, I think it was Motivation, and you like just talked through it, and like I remember probably your whole back row was sobbing. Like just sobbing.
We broke.
Yeah.
We broke.
But it wasn't just about the breaking. It was like you pushing us through the pain to remember like what he was doing and to push us into continuing, right? It's like that, that last 100 meters, that marathon continues, right?
The marathon continues.
Man.
It continues. He did his part. We have got to continue to do ours.
Yeah.
We have got to continue to do ours. And we got to continue to step, even though it's painful, even though it hurts, even though it's heavy and overwhelming and sad and our hearts are broken. We have to continue to put one foot in front of the other and do our part. He did his part.
Yeah.
He did his part. I remember that day too.
Well, that was, I didn't mean for all the things to be heavy, but I think part of my point is just like, there's not a single heavy moment or hill we climb hills in your class too on the bike, where I don't feel like we're not going to get through the other side. That's and
right.
I'm just grateful for you, for your service to all of us, for you sharing your gifts with us, for your family, for, them just allowing you to sacrifice in the ways that you have. For those of you who don't know, like, Angela's whole family's bad, okay? Not just the married one, not just the kids, like her brother Jerry, who I've adopted. If y'all haven't copped no Fear of God, go get some Fear of God stuff. Natalie, who is on her way to being like light-skin Oprah, like Natalie's killing it. And you have another brother I haven't met who runs like your dad's foundation.
Met Anthony.
Huh? I was gonna say I haven't met him.
Yeah, Anthony, who runs my dad's foundation, the Jerry Manuel Foundation. He's amazing. Thank you.
And that's what I said. I told Angela, I said, listen, I just got to talk to your parents about how they did this, and all the kids ended up fine. Like, how they do that? So, like, everybody's great. So I am so grateful for you doing this. Now we're gonna do some of. Angela is a preacher on the side, but she's also an extraordinarily dope trainer. She's trained Beyonce and Jay and Oprah. You trained Oprah too. Michelle Obama's taking your soul cycle class. But now they all got to come through the AARMY. Shout out to B and J who were at AARMY the first day. Tyler Perry, who we love.
I know.
Like everybody's come. Usher's been there. Big Sean been there. This everybody. So Angela's though, she's agreed to boot camp with me for 15 minutes or till I die, whatever comes first, while we're on this coronavirus hiatus. So we're going to do that now. And Angela, I'm just so grateful you're doing this. And thanks for talking with me.
I love you.
Love you. Let's go. Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of On One with Angela Rye Masterclass. I hope that you learned some, you laughed some, and you were inspired more. This has been such a fun journey for me, and I'm so grateful that you chose to come along with me. And you want to know how you can do that even more? You just have to subscribe. Go to youtube.com/Angela Rye and hit subscribe. We want you to be the first to know about upcoming episodes. If there's something you want to see, if there's something you really love, or if you hated it, put that in the comments below. I hope you go easy on the hate. I'm a little sensitive. But I hope to see you soon. Until next time, take care. Bye.